Hello, Hola, Konnichiwa, Salaam, Ciao Namaste. Peace to all. This is Pink Elf in the Room conversation. And what we'll be discussing for today is about the numbness of what happens around us. Some might be thinking, what does that mean exactly? So, to begin with, look at your world around you, everything that has happened around you. There have been people who've been killed lately, month to month, for example, when it comes to school shootings. There have been, per se, terrorists who've done bombings. There have been harm to other places across the world, period, and harm to other people because of their race, their gender. There's been human trafficking. There has been all sorts of things, and we are numb to the fact of any of this happening in our world today. We're numb to it because of the fact that it's shown constantly and consistently in front of us, and two, we are not ones to observe. Three, we are not ones to listen to our feelings, which is the most important part. Your emotions are key to who you are as a person and growing self and loving self. Because we are so in tune with what is called the matrix, in a sense, the systematic ideology of what is going on out there, most of us are unwilling to pay attention to all those issues. Most of us are numb to the fact of deaths that happen yearly, all the time in front of us, and instead we don't care. Now, I put a picture up on YouTube, and just to explain the reason why I put that picture up is because that is the exact meaning of how we do things. Now, of course, it is beneficial. What I put on YouTube was that people have been holding their phones while someone was getting beat up by the police. Now, that can sometimes be beneficial for evidence, but the problem more so with that is because we're so connected to our phones, we're so connected to our social media and electronics, we get numbed out by the fact of what's going on around us. It is a day by day process of telling people everything we feel, everything we think, and so on and so forth. And sometimes it's not even true. So, when you are numbed out in this sense, this is where you need to look within self. It isn't about being strong or anything, because truth is, when we talk about death, we would get over it a lot quicker if we could understand that people do not die. You cannot die. It is impossible due to the fact of being a soul. Souls do not die in any sense. They keep going one way or another. You shapeshift, and if you truly are what you are, you might be a rare soul, and you might shapeshift back into the same being you look like at one point. But all that's a choice. And if we could understand that our perspective of death would be completely different compared to what we think it is and what we feel has happened to us in everyday life. We grow numb to the killing of animals, animals who have a lot of benefits on our own planet to help us in the long run. And that is due to our ideology of superiority complex, believing that we are the strongest and mightiest force of this world, and possibly even believing furthermore. But the truth is, we are not. We are all the mightiest force. The animals, the plants, the water, the planet itself, the space around everything, the sun, the planets, the universe itself is the mightiest force, and so on and so forth, because we're all the same thing. The problem is we believe in separation that allows us to drift off from believing in a sense that we are all one, we are one and the same. If we saw ourselves more so as one and the same, you would see a lot more people seeing it like getting a finger cut off. You would probably see, you'd have a deeper care for everything going on. And yes, it is very sad when things like this happen, of course. Um, for example, and I'll talk more about this later when we talk about the deaths of people like Aretha Franklin, XX Mac Miller. When we talk about people, aunties, sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles, all those people, father, mother, grandparents, those deaths can mean something to someone in any sense. And for some of us, including myself at one point, you can grow numb to that if you see it too often and you don't know how to feel about that. And that's where you need to take time to self, um, to understand the importance of caring for that, to cry for that. If crying, a lot of us are told don't cry, but you have to understand crying actually is like it washes away everything. It is like taking a shower when you're extremely dirty. It washes away every stress, every frustration to clean you and allow you to breathe. No, because when you build in all that negative energy, like a soda pop, it will pop. And it can pop any way possible, whether it's through your anger towards someone else, you could lash out to someone else, you could say something cruel to someone, but what it does is it pops off on someone else in a sense. That's why it's important to allow you to cry, to feel your emotions and understand what is happening around you. You live on this planet, and I think the biggest numbness that we have is we live on this planet and think that it's okay to pollute it. And we have no logic in thinking the importance of not only just ourselves, our well-being, but on top of that, the well-being of the planet for our well-being. We're completely numb to that and believe full and heartedly that we should pollute this place in order to get whatever serves us in a sense. And in the long run, it's not beneficial because it does nothing. It does not work if you are trying to make a better world, or if not even a better world, grow a world that is loving to all and gives everyone a fair opportunity. By by understanding your emotions of who you truly are and being very observant of everything around you, you'll see what the world really is like instead of what people tell you it should be like. We can't go in everyday life constantly being numb to situations, constantly taking pictures of people who are in harm. We have to have a bigger understanding of self that if you watch someone who's in pain and you just watch it, what if that was you? Truth be told, if something happened to us in the same manner that happens to anyone who's in any pain or harm or whatnot, we desire help as well. Picture that and understand that the importance of that. If someone's getting hurt or not, even when you feel like, oh, well, I shouldn't be in this or anything, or I'm just gonna have a camera and just watch it and laugh and put it on YouTube, or I'm gonna put it on Twitter, or put it on whatever, Instagram, or whatever you put it on. Does it serve us to harm other people or to watch other people get harmed? It might not. Matter of fact, it doesn't. Because it's simply like watching your finger getting chopped off and you're laughing at the fact that it got chopped off while it rolls down the floor. You have to understand that everyone is connected to who you are as a person. and growing and loving self. So realize who you truly are and how you affect people around you by what you say, what you do, and how you act. And the importance of unconditional love because of the fact that many of us do not get unconditional love. And I think this will be a good topic to talk about later, but many of us don't get unconditional love. We get unconditional love with conditions. If we don't meet those conditions, then we don't get the full amount of love that is necessary for us. But if we do, we get it only because of that. Love should not be based on things you have or success you finally had, etc., etc. It should be based on the fact that you genuinely care for that person. And many of us are so blind to the fact that if we're around a person who we feel doesn't have themselves together, that they're probably completely irrelevant to wherever they go. And that is something you should observe before you even take notion of that. It's understandable for people who feel that way, especially if you've been put into those situations. But observing everything around you and understanding how a person acts before you decide to rid of them like their old like a brand new toy you only got 2 days later and you throw in the trash. You can't see it like that because of the fact that you have no clue how a person is or how they act. You have to be willing to change your ideology and observe everything, because giving unconditional love to people really does help people grow who they are, because it's a rarity nowadays because of the fact of our system of what we believe. We see that you have to be tough, there's no such thing as love, and etc., etc., and there is. The problem is, though, when you are told so many times there's no such thing as love, or there's no such thing as unconditional love, in a sense, you believe it. That there's no possibility of someone like that existing in your life. That's a belief system that we've allowed and portrayed in our minds. To change that belief system, you have to first start with self. It starts with you. No matter who you are out there, be the person who is unconditionally loving. And maybe for some people, they don't know where to start with that, or they may not understand where would I go with that. It starts with understanding the love within self by loving who you are first. So many of us, the reason why we judge others is because we judge ourselves. And the only reason I say that is because in my own experience, that is how I was. I was giving so much affection and love to other people, but deep inside hating myself. And that constantly rotated at times right back to me one way or another upon other people. And when you are taking time to love yourself for your flaws, love yourself for all your success, loving you for everything you truly are, you will realize that you are beautiful. And if you get to know yourself more, you know how amazing you truly are. It is too often we believe ourselves not to be amazing because of things we haven't done correctly or have been told is either right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. It is simply what works for you or doesn't work for you. What benefits you in a sense to growing you or what doesn't benefit you. Growing that love within self will push you to a new level of who you truly are. To realize that everyone around you is you. We talk about those people, even the celebrities I just mentioned, to so many people. Some people hated those guys, some people loved those guys. But the thing is, for just the people who were talking about they hated those people, because I was hearing this a lot for people like XX and Mac Miller. People said good riddance to them because of X, Y, and Z. But the thing is, you don't know their life. You haven't been in their position. You don't know what loops they went through or whatever was the drama or issues they were going through. We have no right to judge people because you don't know people. So to just judge them based off of perhaps their music, based off of what you heard from other social media or whatnot, you don't personally know them. We have no right to judge a person we don't know. And that's why people have to look at, what if you were that person and people were talking behind your back about you? How would that make you feel? Really think about that for a sec. One person said it this way, that life is a feeling process. Feel the energy around you and understand the energy around you, and understand people being who they are. That everyone is you with different issues, different problems, different situations. And if you were in their shoes, how would you treat those people? Would you treat them lovingly? Would you treat them hatefully? Would you treat them kindly? Would you treat them badly? How would you treat them as? Because remember, just simply, at the end of the day, how beautiful, how amazing, how divine, how magnificent you guys are as the gods, the goddesses, and the creators within. Remember that to know thyself is to know the creator within, who you are. So, to everybody out there, have a good morning, a great afternoon, and a fantastic evening. To everybody, peace and namaste.